Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 1, the curse upon the Yadu dynasty, text number 6 onwards. Swamurtya loka lavanya nirmuktya lochanam nirdam girbhistah smaratam chittam padastani kshatam kriyaha achidya kirtim sushlokam vitatya hiyanjasanuko tamanyatarishyantitya agatsvam padamishvara. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is a reservoir of all beauty. All beautiful things emanate from him. And his personal form is so attractive that it steals the eyes away from all other objects, which then seem devoid of beauty in comparison to him. When Lord Krishna was on the earth, he attracted the eyes of all people. When Krishna spoke, his words attracted the minds of all who remembered him. By seeing the footsteps of Lord Krishna, people became attracted to him, and thus they wanted to offer their bodily activities to the Lord as his followers. In this way, Krishna very easily spread his glories, which are sung throughout the world by the most sublime and essential Vedic verses. Lord Krishna considered that simply by hearing and chanting these glories, conditioned souls born in the future world cross beyond the darkness of ignorance. Being satisfied with this arrangement, he left for his desired destination. Means he went back to the spiritual world. According to Sridhar Swami, these two verses indicate that Lord Krishna, having achieved all the purposes for which he had descended, went back to his spiritual kingdom. It is natural that people in the material world hanker to see a beautiful object. In materialistic life, however, our consciousness is polluted by the influence of the three modes of nature, and therefore we hanker for material objects of beauty and pleasure. The materialistic process of sense gratification is imperfect because the laws of material nature will not allow us to be happy or satisfied in materialistic life. So no matter how much we hanker for happiness in this material life, it's not gonna happen. The living entities constitutionally means originally or intrinsically. This is the original position, is an eternal servant of God and is meant to appreciate the infinite beauty and pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna is the absolute truth and the reservoir of all beauty and pleasure. By serving Krishna, we can also share in his ocean of beauty and pleasure. And thus our desire to see beautiful things and enjoy life will be fully satisfied. But this happiness or this desire can only be fulfilled in relationship with Krishna, not otherwise. Because we all are connected with Krishna eternally. We are looking for happiness elsewhere else. But connection is with him. So how can we be happy elsewhere? The example is given that the hand cannot enjoy food independently, but can assimilate it indirectly by giving it to the stomach. Similarly, by serving Lord Krishna, the living entity who's part and parcel of the Lord will derive ultimate and unlimited happiness. So nice example, like the finger or the hand On its own, it cannot be happy. If it is cut off from the body, it has no value actually. You can just throw it away or bury it or burn it. But as long as this hand is connected with the body, and the hand does not ask for the food. What the hand is supposed to do, pick up the food, put it in the mouth, goes to the stomach, and stomach distributes the quota of energy that the hand needs. And then the hand will be satisfied. Otherwise, there is no other way to make it happy or make it satisfied. So similarly, by serving Lord Krishna, the living entity, who's part and parcel of the Lord, will derive unlimited happiness. Otherwise, no way. The inconceivable Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, by displaying his own true form, freed the living entities from falsely seeking forms of beauty other than his form, which is itself the source of all beautiful things. Simply by seeing his lotus feet, fortunate living beings could distinguish between the ungodly endeavors of the karmis, who seek gross enjoyment for their own sense gratification, and the practice of dovetailing one's activities with the service of the Lord. Although philosophers perpetually speculate about the nature of God, and Lord Krishna directly liberated the Jiva souls from all speculative misunderstandings about him by displaying his actual transcendental form of activities. So we don't have to speculate about him. We don't have to theorize about him, or he must be like this, or he must. He has shown his activities. He has shown his past, and he's shown his form. But still, those who don't have faith in him, they don't believe it. Superficially, Krishna's personal form, words, and activities resemble those of ordinary conditioned souls. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that this apparent resemblance between the Lord's activities and those of the living entities is a merciful concession by the Lord, so that the conditioned souls will be attracted to him and become eligible to return to his kingdom for an eternal life of bliss and knowledge. So conditioned natures get attracted to him when he displays his activities as ordinary living entities. Because if he displays activities as God himself, we will be in awe and reverence. We won't be able to relate to him. We won't be able to develop love for him. If there is awe, oh yeah, he's huge. Like Arjun, when he saw the universal form of Krishna, before that, he was, okay, Krishna, you are my friend, take my chariot in the middle of the two armies. And I'm confused. But when he saw the universal form, he said, who are you? I'm afraid of you. He could not even compose himself. And Krishna had to come back to his two-handed form. So that is why he performs his pastimes. His pastimes are still supernatural. But his form is just like any of us, as like a living entity. He is never a living entity, but his form, he makes it look like us. So then we become attracted to him. Not just like us, in many ways, in his pastimes, he is dependent upon his devotees. And that makes him more sweet. When he is dependent as a little baby Krishna, he's always running towards Mother Yashoda to get on her lap, and he is stealing butter from gopis' houses. Who can even imagine? He is God himself. But the pastimes are so sweet, devotees naturally become attracted to him. By showing his own spiritual form and kingdom to the living entities in a way tangible for them, Lord Krishna drove away their false enjoying attitude and removed their long-standing indifference to his personality. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, if one can understand the position of Shri Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead, one will never fall into the network of material illusion. Such a fall down can be avoided if one constantly hears about the unique transcendental form and beauty of the Lord from authorized Vedic literatures. So that's all we have to do. Constantly hear about his form and beauty and activities. Further, it is said, on the other hand, certain parts of Vedic literature are specifically meant to avoid material sense gratification to the conditioned souls and at the same time gradually condition him to obey the Vedic injunctions. The portions of the Vedas that recommend fruitive activities for regulated sense gratification are themselves dangerous. Because the living being who engages in such activities becomes easily entangled in the material enjoyment offered and neglects the ultimate purpose of the Vedas. Ultimate purpose of the Vedic literature is to bring the living entity back to his original consciousness, in which he acts as an eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the ultimate purpose, but Vedas go a little bit in a roundabout way. By rendering service to the Lord, the living entity can enjoy unlimited spiritual bliss in the association of the Lord in his own kingdom. Thus, one who seriously desires to advance in Krishna consciousness should specifically hear the Vedic literature that deals with pure devotional service to the Lord. One should hear from those who are highly advanced in Krishna consciousness and avoid interpretations that stimulate materialistic desires for enjoyment. So obviously, Vedic literature, they're so vast, so much of knowledge is there. So one should hear from those who are highly advanced in Krishna consciousness and they know what to choose from Vedic literature. They're like, that's the purpose, the Paramhansa. So Hansa means one who can take out milk from a combination of milk and water. So Paramhansas are who can extract pure devotional service, even from the Vedic literature, which are full of Karma-Kandya rituals. That is a Paramhansa, and who can feed that essence to his followers, to his disciples, to make them God conscious, Krishna conscious, to make them devotees of the Lord. When the tiny living entity is finally able to see the difference between the temporary affairs of this world and the transcendental activities of Lord Trivikram, Krishna, he devotes himself to the Lord and removes from his heart the dark coverings of matter, no longer desiring sense gratification, which is enjoyed under the two headings, sin and piety. In other words, although people within this world are considered sinful or pious on the material platform, both sin and piety are performed for one's personal gratification. If one can understand that his real happiness lies in giving pleasure to Krishna, Lord Krishna takes such a fortunate living being back to his own abode, which is called Golok Vrindavan. According to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the Lord first gives a sincere soul the opportunity to hear about his pastimes. When the devotee has advanced in his spontaneous attraction to such narrations, the Lord gives him the opportunity to take part in his spiritual pastimes as they appear within this world. By taking part in the pastimes of the Lord within a particular universe, the living being becomes completely detached from the material world, and ultimately the Lord brings him to his personal abode in the spiritual sky. So that's how it works. So all we have to do is just get attracted. Whatever chance we get to chant and hear about him, just use that opportunity. So slowly, Krishna will give us rest of the opportunity. He'll make the path clear for us so that we can ultimately go back to the spiritual world. Foolish people cannot understand this substantial benefit offered by the Lord. But Lord Krishna acts for the benefit of such foolish people by saving them from their absorption in the temporary world of false enjoyment. The Lord does this by personally displaying his own superlative transcendental beauty, transcendental words, and transcendental activities. Srila Jiva Goswami has pointed out that the words Tamo Anya Tarishyanti indicate that although Lord Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago, one who hears and chants about the activities, form, and words of the Lord will get exactly the same benefit as those who personally experience these things as contemporaries of Lord Krishna. In other words, he will also cross over the darkness of material existence and achieve the Lord's abode. Thus, Srila Jiva Goswami concludes that if such an exalted destination is available to all living beings, it must certainly have been awarded to the Yadavas, who were personal associates of the Lord. Of course, Yadavas are personal associates, and they get much more. They get to be with Krishna even in this pastime, and they are with Krishna even in the spiritual world. It is stated in this verse that by his beauty, Krishna stole away the vision of people who saw him. Krishna's speaking was so attractive that those who heard him became speechless. Since generally those who cannot speak are also deaf, the Lord's words also stole away the ears of those who heard him. Since they were no longer interested in hearing sounds other than the Lord speaking. So that is the meaning of they became deaf. They became dumb, means they could not speak anything except Krishna's name, Krishna's glories. By displaying the beauty of his footsteps, Krishna stole away those who saw them the power to perform materialistic activities. Thus, by his appearance in this world, Krishna took away the senses of mankind. In other words, he made people blind, dumb, deaf, mad, and otherwise invalid. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur asked, since he took away everything people possessed, who would properly call them merciful? Rather, he is just a thief. In this way, he indirectly offers the highest praise to the beauty of the Lord. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also points out that although Krishna gave liberation to the demons by destroying them, to those who were attracted to him, Krishna gave pure love of God and drowned them in the ocean of his own beauty. Thus, Krishna is not like a person who gives charity without discrimination. And Krishna is so merciful that not only did he give the highest benediction to the inhabitants of earth, but he empowered great saintly persons such as Vyasadeva to describe his pastimes with beautiful poetic verses. Thus, people born on the earth in the future could easily cross over the ocean of birth and death by those glories which are compared to a strong boat. In fact, those of us who are now enjoying the glories of Krishna through the transparent medium of the Bhaktivedanta purports of Srimad Bhagavatam, by the mercy of His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, are the fortunate recipients of the mercy of Krishna, who was merciful even to persons yet to be born. Beautiful. So, yes, he gives mercy, or he empowered Vyasadeva to describe his pastimes in Bhagavatam. Then he empowered Shukdev Goswami to speak Bhagavatam. And it is said that Bhagavatam is a ripened fruit of all Vedic knowledge. But when it was touched by the lotus lips of Shukdev Goswami, it became even just like a mango when it is touched by parrot's beak, it becomes sweeter. So Shukdev Goswami is parrot of Srimati Radharani. And when he spoke Bhagavatam, it became sweeter. But then it became more sweet when Srila Prabhupada gave his commentary on it. See, Prabhupada assimilated everything the previous acharyas had written. And then he presented it just like mother, when she sees her babies cannot eat, little babies on the lap of mother, they cannot eat all the food. So mother eats that food, and in the form of a breast milk, she feeds her babies the essence of that food. So the baby's stomach remains okay, and baby can assimilate or digest that food. So similarly, Prabhupada, he assimilated all the commentaries, the sweetness of Bhagavatam, and then he gave us in the form of his baby milk. We are babies, baby milk, so that we can digest it properly and appreciate whatever the essence we are getting. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for us to even understand anything about Bhagavatam. And not just understand or hear, like commentators are saying, now we are enjoying the glories of Krishna. We wouldn't have been able to enjoy. Quoting from the Amar Kosh dictionary, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has also stated that which has been, the possible definitions for Padam are that which has been decided, place of deliverance, fortune, foot, or object. Thus, he translates the word Padam as meaning Vyavasita, that which has been decided. In other words, the statement Agata Swapadam Ishvara indicates not only that Krishna went to his abode, but that Krishna realized his determined desire. If we say that Krishna returned to his eternal abode, we imply that Krishna had been absent from his abode and was now returning. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out that it's incorrect to say in a normal sense that Krishna went back to his abode. According to Brahma Samhita, Krishna is always present in his eternal abode in the spiritual sky. Yet by his causeless mercy, he also manifests himself from time to time within the material world. In other words, God is all pervading. Even when present before us, he is simultaneously in his abode. So Acharyas explains what does it mean that he went back to his abode? Means he just unmanifested his pastimes here. Otherwise, he's always in his abode. The Lord is all-pervading and self-sufficient in fulfilling his perfect desires. His appearance and disappearance in this world should never be compared to ordinary material activities. Further, it is said, Srila Jiva Goswami has quoted a verse from the end of 11th canto that further clarifies that the abode of the Lord is as eternal as the Lord himself. The ocean immediately swallowed Dwarka, O Maharaj, taking away the Lord's personal abode, which the Lord had abandoned. The Supreme Lord Madhusudan is always present in Dwarka, which merely by being remembered takes away everything unfavorable. It's the most auspicious of auspicious places. Just as the sun appears to be swallowed by the night, Krishna or his abode or his dynasty seems to disappear, but actually the Lord and all of his paraphernalia, including his abode and dynasty, are eternal. In the same way as the sun is always in the sky. Srila Prabhupada says in this connection, as the sun appears in the morning and gradually rises to the meridian and then again sets in one hemisphere, while simultaneously rising in the other. So Lord Krishna's disappearance in one universe and the beginning of his different pastimes in another take place simultaneously. So as soon as one pastime is finished here, it is manifested in another universe. And thus his Nitya Leela or eternal pastimes are going on without ending. So this is the beauty of Krishna, beauty of Krishna's pastimes and his words. So we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.